On today's show, will the Penguin bring back the submarine from 1966? The Netflix Millarverse has its first lineup, and trailers. We got two. Act right now. We'll give you a third one for free. Movie Talk starts right now. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this Wednesday morning hump day edition of Collider Movie Talk. That is Mark Reilly. That is Jeff Sneider, who brought a computer on set today. I'm not a fan of it, but maybe we'll find out later on in the program. We do kick off today, as we have all week, with our update on Mr. John Schnepp. As many of you know, John Schnepp is in critical condition in the hospital. He went in over the weekend, and I do have an update. This is from his fiancée, his beloved Holly Payne, and she tweeted this out this morning, and Holly and I had a conversation about me reading it on Movie Talk and sharing it with all of you, so I'm going to do that right now. This is from Holly, John Schnepp's fiancée, his sister Deborah, John's mother Miriam, and his father David. Our beloved John Schnepp suffered a catastrophic stroke on Thursday, July 12th. John is on life support at this time. While everyone is desperate for updates on his condition, we ask for your understanding on giving us privacy as we need over the next few days to deal with the difficult decisions concerning John's care. Please keep him in your prayers and in your hearts. Thank you. Again, that's from Holly, Deborah, David, and Miriam, and that's the update that we have right now. And I know that human nature is to be curious and inquisitive, and what I can tell you is I would caution you to rush to any conclusions right now, and I know that there's a lot of questions a lot of you have, and unfortunately, we don't have the answers right now because that's not how this works. No one has all the answers. There's still a lot of unknown factors going on right now, so we can't give you any more information than that at this time, but what I can tell you is that John and Holly and all their family and friends are so appreciative of your love and support that you've shown, that you continue to show day in and day out. And if you want to show that in an economic form, they would love for your participation on any one of these donation platforms that Holly has set up through Venmo, PayPal, or GoFundMe. There's a lot of medical expenses to deal with. There's a lot of things going on with our boy John Schnepp right now. So any way you can help, whether it's through one of those or it's just whatever spiritual belief system you adhere to, it all goes to a great cause, and that is our good buddy John Schnepp. So thank you guys for your support and your continued love. I know John sends it right back to you. And when we look at the landscape of what we do here daily, movie news, it always seems like something that we argue about, that we like to take so seriously and jabber back and forth, and it seems like the biggest thing of the day. And when you put it in perspective, it's mindless, meaningless distraction, but that distraction has also fostered this community that we have that has shown John Schnepp so much love and support, and I think that it's important to keep that going. And so as difficult as it is, I'm going to rely on my boys here in the studio, Mark Reilly and Jeff Sneider, to continue to deliberate about the news, because I know that nobody enjoys doing that more than John Schnepp. And you look at the news stories that we've even had this week, when you talk about the Dune movie, or you talk about Denis Villeneuve, you talk about Blade Runner 2049, I know it's right up Schnepp's alley. So yeah. I do have a little bit of joy in my heart talking about things that I know John Schnepp loves. And I am curious as to his thoughts for this first thing that we kick off with, because we're talking about Batman again. We're talking about the Matt Reeves Batman this time, and we're talking about the villain and the Penguin, and is that going to be the villain in the new Batman movie? And again, it's not an easy transition to get into this story, but I think it's a topic that is, a lot of people are talking about right now because there's so many DC movies in the works, Jeff Sneider, and we've gotten a number of tweets that are from various sources. The latest update is that we had the film reporter Umberto Gonzales, El Mayambe, had revealed that there's going to be a Batman villain in the Birds of Prey movie. And then that was backed up by Variety reporter Justin Kroll. He tweeted, "Take this with a grain of salt, as things are constantly changing in the DCU, and don't we all know that to be true? But he's hearing the Penguin is the possible choice to play the villain in the Batman movie." that's going to be directed by Matt Reeves. Sources added, even if Reeves decides to go another route, the studio could make him the main villain in Birds of Prey. So if he's not going to be in Batman, he's definitely going to be in Birds of Prey. Either way, it seems like we're going to get the monogamous, walky, cute creatures from Antarctica are somehow going to be involved in a Batman movie coming up. A second tweet said that Reeves is still working on the script, so that could always change, but the multiple Birds of Prey scripts have been submitted. One of them does have the Penguin as the heavy hitter. So, Jeff, it seems like we're going to get a Penguin in a movie coming up soon from Warner Brothers. What's the latest to graze your ears?
I mean, I haven't heard anything specifically because things are so tight-lipped around the DCEU, but obviously Justin and Umberto seem to be in agreement that the Penguin is going to be the primary villain in the Batman. I don't know if there will be a secondary villain. I would kind of prefer to see Batman have just one villain. Like, I mean, there was just the Joker in the original Tim Burton Batman, right?
Yeah, but he had a lot of goons, a lot of henchmen,
and that's to be expected, as I'm sure that the Penguin, will have his share of goons and henchmen and whatnot. But yeah, I don't need a comic book movie overstuffed with like 3 different villains. Like, I'd rather have one really strong A villain than like an A, B, and C, etc.
It's the way these things usually go, Reilly, is that, I mean, you even look at Jeff's example of the 89 Batman. Then Batman Returns comes out, we have multiple villains in there showing up. Then Batman Forever comes out and all hell breaks loose. And then Batman and Robin, well, that's just a joke. So if you have even the Christopher Nolan trilogy, if you look, the first one, we knew who we were going against with Scarecrow, but you also had the Ra's al Ghul factor in there, which I thought was interesting. If you can do it right, I don't mind having multiple villains in here. If nothing else, Jeff, I think it might be you have the Penguin being the focus in this movie, and then a larger looming presence that appears maybe later in the third act, or even, dare I say, post-credits scene, possibly with our boy from a couple weeks ago, Joe Manganiello. If you have Deathstroke come in there, do you see Deathstroke and the Penguin sharing screen time? Or do you see the movie going the more route that Jeff would prefer, which is just one isolated villain going up against Batman in the first one?
Well, the DCU is always changing. We know that. Is the script changing? Is it going to be the young Batman that it's now rumored to be, that Ben Affleck will not be there? And so I wonder if it is still going to be connected to the larger DCEU, because Alfred says in Justice League, right? Was it Justice League? It's exploding penguins kind of tips the hat at a previous run-in with the Penguin. So is that the Matt Reeves Penguin?
Right. Yeah, does Matt Reeves
he jump off of that
to Justice League and to Batman v Superman? We don't know.
So that's the question. If it's a young Batman, I would like to keep it at one villain, because it would just seem to make sense that he's finding his footing as a hero and he has to take on this one villain. I like that idea. And I do think it's going to be the Penguin, because I go back to some social media tweets that Josh Gad did where he was teasing pictures of the Penguin, and everybody was saying, wait, is he meeting at DCEU? So I think he has met, and I think they are mulling it about, and I think it's Josh Gad that they were looking at and maybe taking a general meeting. Maybe Jeff has something to say about that.
The Gad Penguin rumors were absolutely legit.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I hadn't heard that. I mean, they're old.
Sure. He's tweeted that out a while ago.
I'm talking like a year old or something like that. So I don't know if anything has changed. I think Josh Gad would make an amazing Penguin. I think he's a brilliant actor.
Can we get Daisy Ridley to interrogate Josh Gad on Instagram?
Oh, we need to do
the way that he was going after Ridley and Helen Mirren and a lot of other people about The Last Jedi on the set of Murder on the Orient Express. That's what I want to see. I want to see Josh Gad get his comeuppance when it comes to Instagram videos, interrogating him for plots. Maybe we get something like that this week at Comic-Con. There's a whole lot of announcements that they could make, that Warner Brothers or the DCU could do on Saturday in Hall H. We don't know what they have in store other than some obvious Aquaman footage that we're very excited about. Jeff, if I told you that this movie was either going to follow the route of Justice League, where we're going to keep all of that lore in the universe, or you're going to give Matt Reeves the choice to go his own direction and not worry about the line that Alfred had, or even following in the footsteps, even if you're telling a story that's a prequel to Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, do you want this to tie into that universe, or do you want this to be a standalone movie? Do you think that's the better decision?
Is this a serious question?
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, you want to blow the whole thing up?
Blow the whole thing up. Let Matt Reeves start over. No, I want this to have absolutely zero connection to the current DCU. No connection to Batman vs Superman or Justice League. I'm pretty sure, as we've read and assumed, there's going to be a new Batman. It's not going to be Ben Affleck. Like, it's going to be a younger Batman. So whether it's a prequel or just a new origin story or some other angle entirely, which we don't know what Matt Reeves is cooking up. I don't think that there will be any cast to come over from the current Batman
But with
universe.
the success that they've had, Reilly, with Wonder Woman and with if Aquaman's a good movie and you have a lot of potential with The Flash, Cyborg, there's the pieces there to continue what we started with Justice League, in my opinion. So in that scenario, do you have Matt Reeves make a standalone Batman movie that's kind of the same thing as the Todd Phillips Joker movie, where it's just off on this other, DC Dark or whatever they want to make with that, and then you just cast somebody else as the older Batman to continue on with the cape and the cowl in Ben Affleck's stead?
Yeah, I don't see why we can't look at Batman like we look at James Bond and put another actor in there. I happen to think, as we're coming on the heels of 10 years with The Dark Knight, arguably the best Batman, arguably the best superhero movie of all time.
The sequel to the best superhero movie of all time, but continue.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think that we're so far into the DCU that I would like it to remain connected. I think we're already there, and I would like to see that callback that I referenced with Alfred and the Exploding Penguins. I think it would be interesting to see young Batman, but to use your point, Jeff, maybe a standalone, just one villain, and we don't have any other connections. It's just kind of assumed that this is the young Batman that's going to show up later in Batman v Superman and Justice League, because I think there was something special about the Batman in Batman v Superman that I really liked. He was dark, he was gritty, he was scared. I mean, the first reveal of Batman in Batman v Superman was awesome. I loved it. He's in the shadows. He is brutal. What if Matt Reeves took that angle and put his flair on it? And it is connected loosely. I understand what you're saying, but I always go back to the Nolan trilogy. We had arguably, again, for me, a very perfect Batman series. It would just seem weird to go back and go, here we are, we're starting another Batman series, standalone, not connected to DCEU. And we still don't have a Man of Steel 2.
The universe is
I don't understand
terrible.
what
This universe is awful, Reilly. They blew it with Justice League. They blew it with
can't disagree with that.
With Batman vs Superman. So why are they continuing to build this universe out that sucks?
Well,
but the whole universe doesn't suck, is my point. Like the team
corners of the universe are good.
The team's
corners
not
are.
winning
and so keep building those
games,
corners.
But there's a lot of talent on that team, so you don't blow up the entire team. You just swap in some pieces. You keep your Wonder Woman, you keep your Aquaman, right? So you can't just blow up the entire thing.
You keep your Henry Cavill, Superman.
Yeah, you could. But you can switch
hoping.
out.
Then it's like, okay, then you keep Affleck doing his Batman thing, and then Reeves's thing exists as its own standalone movie or standalone trilogy, if that's what they have planned.
That's what I'm postulating right now. But you could recast Affleck if he doesn't want to be a part of it.
I'm just saying that Reeves's project should have absolutely nothing to do with the universe.
Okay, then we.
But okay, let me put it this. Let's suppose, because Batman in Batman v Superman basically goes, wait a minute, there's a god.
Yeah.
There's a god smashing buildings. I'm going to do some greatest detective work here. Oh, look, here's a 1920s picture of a woman god. And then, look, here's Aquaman. So he's basically, at that moment, discovering that there's a bigger world. Why can't we have a DCEU reference to that where he exists and meets all the big Batman villains, and it sets up this character that we then meet later on in Batman v Superman? Again, loosely connected.
But why do you need that?
But again, I'm not heavy-handed with this storytelling. Not heavy-handed in like, oh, see, he just saw a picture of Diana, and he went, I wonder if that'll pop up later. I'm going to go about my business. I think that it'd be interesting to, zero ties to the DCEU, but we do maybe at the very end. Is it the trilogy? I don't know. Post-credit? I don't know.
Okay.
But we establish a young Batman in the universe without any of the superfluous characters that don't need to define this Batman character, and we set him up and tee it up for Batman v Superman, where you go back later and you watch it and you go, this is the Batman that was
Who would want to connect at the end and lead up to a bad movie?
Well, I think he's saying, I think that what Riley's saying,
a lot of
this
fans
is how
want
every
to
day
keep-
goes when you walk into Warner Brothers in DC.
I know.
By the way, guys,
Here's
this
a
is what you
snapshot
get.
of the
This is why
development
nothing
process.
gets
The lunch
done.
ladies arguing with each other
I'm
at the
going to
cafeteria.
tie all this up in a nice bow, because that's my job here. Damn it, is that I think that Riley's making a movie here with Matt Reeves, and he's going to make a young Batman, and here's what we do. We don't have to connect it to Batman v Superman or Justice League, but we don't have to not connect it. So it's a
all I'm
movie that
saying.
exists, and then let the fans go off on their theories and be like, oh, that's a hit. Was it a hit? No, it was just it's something that happened 20 years before, and there's our our movie.
Why can't the middle movie be the death of Jason Todd that sets up the Joker Robin statue in Batman v Superman? I think that would be a very cool thing to set up. Now, yes, I know the movies don't work for you, Snyder. And believe me, Justice League is a god-awful movie. That movie is the worst DCEU movie for me.
I like Justice. But think like Matt Reeves for 1 second. Like, why would Matt Reeves want to do that? Like, what is in it for him?
Well,
but I think he still has a lot of creative freedom.
The point we're making here is that Matt Reeves can make a Batman movie with a young Batman, and it doesn't have to tie into to any other movies that have happened, but it also doesn't have to not tie in. So I think that's the way to go.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. You're literally speaking in not English.
No,
you're not speaking in English. You're talking about maybe it does this, but maybe it doesn't. It can't be the two things at once.
Yes, it can. It can be a standalone movie that does not hearken to anything that happens in Justice League, but it doesn't necessarily have to do anything in that movie that completely retcons anything that you've seen in Batman v Superman.
Here, it's easy. It is very, very easy. You put Jeremy Irons in the Batman movie with Matt Reeves. That's it.
Okay.
You're welcome, Warner Brothers. There's your connection.
Wow.
Jeremy Irons as Alfred in Matt Reeves' movie. You don't need to do anything else. Really that simple.
Mark Reilly, who would have thought the guy sipping a USC mug that looks like something my grandfather would be drinking Bloody Marys out of everything?
It is a Bloody Mary. I'm pissed.
All right. Well, we are going to move on, but Adam Smith, our beloved engineer, don't go to the next story just yet because we might. Do we have a breaking news graphic?
Actually, I do have some breaking news.
Dim the lights. Cue the music. Snyder takes a snarky sip off his Actor-sponsored water, and you have some breaking news. The floor is yours.
Breaking news in the middle of the show. Head over to Collider.com where you will read our scoop that Dave Franco, brother of James, is in talks to join Ryan Reynolds in Michael Bay's Netflix action movie Six Underground.
For the Netflix.
Yeah, he just did a movie with six in the title over on Netflix, Six Balloons, the addiction drama. So they must have a thing for
Franco?
him. Yeah, Dave Franco. I still need to see that one. But anyways,
number.
this movie, Ryan Reynolds is going to be leading a team on some kind of mission to stop evil. That's all we know about it. It's 4 men, 2 women. Each of them is named 1 through 6, kind of like Reservoir Dogs with the colors.
I like it.
Hudson Hawk with the candy bars.
Sure. Ryan Reynolds is going to be
deep cut.
Which number?
Oh, he's got to be number 1.
Number 1 is Ryan Reynolds, and Dave Franco is number 6.
So is that the order of the billing as well, I guess?
I don't know about that. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah. So
supernatural in element?
No. I think it's going to be like almost like a Mission Impossible type of movie.
You get 6 of them. It's a team. Now, my question is, Dave Franco, he's got that look. He's got some comedic chops that we've seen in movies like Neighbors. He's also a good dramatic actor. And he just has that look, Snyder, where if he's on the mission and he's the last guy to join, that's why he's called 6. He's the guy that I'm worried about double crossing me because one of these 6 is going to be doing some sort of negotiation behind the scenes. But my fear is that we think it's Dave Franco and it turns out to be no, not the cute boy from The Proposal. Yes, Ryan Reynolds is going to be the guy that double crosses everybody.
Whoa.
What do you guys think?
That's a hot take.
Which horse are you betting on to double cross?
I can't speak to any plot details. Is all I'll say. No comment, Mark Ellis. No comment.
That means he knows something.
He knows something.
But I like Dave Franco a lot. He's in Barry Jenkins' movie that's coming up this fall, so that's going to be an awards player. He's part of 3 franchises, like you said, Jump Street, Neighbors, and Now You See Me. So it's good to see that his career is taking off, and I think it'll be cool to see him working with Michael Bay and Ryan Reynolds.
All right, does a very good De Niro impression.
Yeah, sure.
He does.
Head on over to Collider to check the full story.
All right, well done, Jeff Sneider. Now we move on. Adam, go ahead. You can shift back into third gear, and we can go back to our next story, and that is the Mark Millar verse on Netflix. You don't know the name Mark Millar. He's kind of big in the world of comic books, and he's about to be big in the world of Netflix. They have unveiled the slate of these future Mark Millar projects that you will be able to catch. Their movies and their series. The Queen Emporia movie is the first one. That's an interstellar adventure. The Huck movie. It's a quiet seaside town. Huck uses his special gifts to do a good deed each day. And then Sharky the Bounty Hunter movie. movie. If you give me a bounty hunter and you give me somebody named Sharky, I'm going to get excited about it. That's also set in a new sci-fi unit. Basically, Sharky is like a blue-collar bounty hunter, and he tracks criminals across the galaxy in his converted rocket-powered ice cream truck. I hear Sharky the Bounty Hunter movie. That's the one I want to see most out of the three of them. My question is this, Mark Reilly. All three of the, I think maybe the Huck movie seems like something that could be done on the cheap if you needed to.
Right.
I know Netflix has cash to spend. How much money would you expect them to sink into something that either Sharky or something like Queen Emporia seems like a big budget film premise? Now, I will give them a lot of credit because I hear good things about Lost in Space. Which was a series
Lost in
that
Space
obviously
is great.
It's another. Anytime you say the words interstellar adventure in a pitch meeting, the suits go, "Oh God, how much is that going to cost me?"
Right.
So how much is this going to cost them, and will they reap the rewards?
I don't know. Do we know what Bright cost as far as budget?
90 million.
90 million. So I would
All
look
in.
at that as a good indicator. But at the same point,
And that got a sequel, by the way. So
And that
they're
did get a
happy.
sequel.
And Six Underground will cost 125 million, which is the biggest budget they've ever initially greenlit. The Irishman went over budget.
Okay.
But 125 is the highest that they've ever said, we're going to give you this amount of money.
And-
Irishman
rightly.
already over budget, and we still got
And that's
Christmas
a co-fi with
next year.
Skydance.
yeah, and rightly so. That's Scorsese. Do your thing with The Irishman. I'm glad it's going over budget. Give them all the money. I like that. But for Mark Millar, there is a fan base to the comics. Now, I'm not familiar with the source material, but if we're looking at 90 million for Bright and the biggest budget for the Michael Bay, that makes... Well, I don't know. Bright is interesting to me because it wasn't a sourced thing. It wasn't known. It was what's his name?
It was a
David
hot
Ayer.
spec package,
And
yeah.
it was a great
They
spec
beat out
package.
Warner Brothers for it.
And then you got Will Smith. And if you look at the numbers, that opened well. If
Yes.
you look at how many people downloaded that,
I think
you
it
could
was
look at Will
11
Smith.
million, Riley.
Yeah.
So if you 11 million times $10 a person, roughly, that's a $100 million opening.
Exactly, for Will Smith. I look at it as Will Smith being able to open yet another movie, and Air and fantasy and all this great stuff. So, but if you look at Mark Millar, I would put it at the 75 million range for these movies, maybe even 90. There is a fan base for these comics. He did create Kick-Ass. He did create Kingsman. These are big, big titles that have shown that they can work on the big screens and create franchises. I love what Netflix is doing, especially with this, because I'm going to go in blind. I don't really want to see any of the, aside from what we've read, I like the idea of Netflix just swinging for the fences and dropping a Sharky the Bounty Hunter movie. Interstellar travel be damned. I just want to see what they have to offer. Creating a universe from Mark Millar where I can sit back and go, okay, show me some good stuff, Netflix, and hopefully being blown away more than Bright, because Bright was like, meh.
And that's the key, is that you still watch Bright, and you're
I still
going to
watch
watch
Bright.
Sharky the Bounty Hunter movie. Why? Because I understand the comparison that if 11 million people watch Bright, then that would translate to a crap ton of money at the box office, but you're not having to go to the box office because you make a decision at home to leave your house to go to the theater to pay $15, $20, $10, whatever part of the country you live in, to go see a movie on Netflix. I can sit there with a remote on my fat ass, and I can say, I'm just going to see what looks good. So if any one of these have any remote interest just from the poster that you see or the description, it's going to get a click. So it's not necessary to just have Mark Millar's fan base come to this and say, oh, I want to see these movies. What they might do is join Netflix because they're huge Mark Millar fans. This gets their subscription dollar, but people have already subscribed to Netflix. This seems like something that's going to do well simply because it's different. It's new. It feels fresh. It feels very Guardians of the Galaxy. And Jeff, that Sharky the Bounty Hunter movie sounds like they could run into a Winnebago driven by Bill Pullman and a Mog.
I don't. Yeah. Okay.
So-
Spaceballs. Spaceballs.
Damn
yes,
it,
of
Snyder.
course.
It's not a 70s
I got it
movie.
there. I needed a second. I don't know how special this all sounds. It sounds like, if Netflix had put out a release announcing we're making 5 sci-fi movies and they're all like Duncan Jones mute level,
Right.
Does this really do it for me? No. Is Mark Millar a big enough name? I like Mark Millar. I like Kick-Ass. I like Kingsman. Those are both good movies to me, and I like him personally. I just don't know how big a name he is in terms. How many people are buying comics these days? Maybe 50,000 people, 100,000 people?
Well, I honestly think it's less the name Mark Millar, and it's more the fact that they're licensing comic book properties, because you look at what Netflix has done with the Marvel series that they've created. For the most part, those get very good reviews and a lot of eyeballs on them whenever they release a new Luke Cage.
Marvel, though.
Or that's Marvel. But what this shows me is that Netflix is solidifying itself for the future, not limiting itself to comic book properties that that are very well known going in. This means that they're looking to compete with other streaming services that may not be there right now, but are going to be on the horizon. 2019, 2020, it's going to be a lot of big games in town, so they're trying to solidify the roster as best they can preemptively.
Oh, it's all about it's an IP arms race. So I think that
Yes.
Netflix was smart to get into the Mark Millar business because when he does have a comic that hits on the level of a Kingsman or Kick-Ass, then they're going to get the first crack at this. None of these titles necessarily resonate with me. Like I before this announcement, would I have known what Jupiter's Legacy was? Probably not. I think that maybe sounds like the most interesting out of all these projects. Huck sounds like something I would check out, especially with Ted Melfi involved, because I think he's really talented. But like Empress and I'm not watching something called Sharky the Bounty Hunter on principle. I think a lot of these things will be cast dependent and execution dependent.
Have you ever dined at Sharky's Mexican Grill? It's healthy. It's delicious.
It is so delicious.
Fantastic.
Is it? All right. Well, you'll have to take me there then. But
I will take you there with my my Sharky's box.
I'm mixed on this whole Millar verse. We'll see what kind of stars that they get. I don't think that you can do a bright level budget. I think that they need to probably keep it in the 50 to 75 range.
Yeah, but hopefully they can adopt a page out of the Lost in Space book and put in a song by Van Halen in at least one of these movies. They played Panama on Lost in Space, and it was awesome. That's the only episode I watched. We move on to our next trailer, our first of three, as a matter of fact, and that is for Assassination Nation. The movie sounds like a huge action extravaganza. It's not that. It's a different kind of movie, but it gets bonkers even by the end of this trailer. Basically, what you have is a core of four young ladies who are at the center of a town that absolutely loses its collective SHIT after a hacker releases private info on everyone in their community. The movie hits theaters September 21st, and this just looks like what The Purge wants to do.
Yeah.
This movie looks like if The Purge was still fresh, if the first Purge was that first version of the movie, we hadn't heard of it, it would hit like a comet, like what this trailer hit me as, Jeff Sneider, because this seems like a scary harbinger of things to come in our reality. How do we prevent it? I don't know how to do that, but I do know that this movie is going to be an entertaining watch and a very gloomy outcome for the future of humanity. How do you feel about it?
I thought this trailer was super effective. It's a really good trailer. I saw the movie at Sundance, and it is, I'm going to quote myself here, on January 22nd, I said, this movie is pretty crazy, but amid the violence, there's actually an interesting message. And I think I stand by that take. It's hard to explain what this movie is. It's like, it's insane. It's also a little bit messy, but yeah, it really gets into like the cyber privacy because it's basically involves someone who gets hacked, and then everyone in the town starts getting hacked, and everybody's secrets, and it's crazy, the things that we say online when we think that we're in the privacy of our own homes, our own direct messages, etc.
Yeah, the movie itself got, I believe, mixed reviews coming out of Sundance, and
it's not a home run.
If it's because people just didn't know what to expect, and I think that people get the word satire mixed up a little bit in their heads. I mean, basically, satire, the definition of satire is if you're using humor or irony or whatever have you to exaggerate some sort of thing that's happening in your world. So if you look at Mad Magazine as a satire, that's a very goofy, hilarious version of satire. Satire can also use humor, but not lead with humor. And it seems like that's what this movie's doing, Mark Reilly, where it's going to have like winks and nods in the same way that you could look at The Purge as a satire, but it's pretty scary and it feels very real. Do you get that sense with this trailer?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think based on what you said, Snyder, how our tastes do match up sometimes, and sometimes they could be opposite.
Oh,
but
we saw the Batman discussion. Please.
Oh, we did, yes. But I also see shades of Black Mirror in the sense of like the technology being something that undoes the society around it, and this. What better way to do it in a societal way of high school, which has factions, which has its, cliques and different, the popular kids, the this is that. And so what happens when technology is run amok, or all of your photos are released out there and then the purge angle comes in? I love that. And for a trailer, when I hear mixed reviews, I tend to get a little.
Yeah, it's just a polarizing movie.
It's a polarizing movie, and I go, okay. But then when you look at a trailer like this, I go, well done, marketing team. You won me over. I have to see it for myself. Okay, I don't care about anything else.
Have they've convinced you that this movie has something interesting to say?
Yes,
in
absolutely.
This trailer. Has it won over audiences in the sense that you actually want to see this movie, or is this actually a situation where people are going to watch this trailer and say, I would rather keep the wool over my eyes? We hear so much that, I don't want conversation to get too political. I want my movies beating me over the head with a message. This feels like it's got a message in addition to the satire that's going on. Is this going to be a situation where people want to avoid the movie?
I don't think so. I mean, if I was a teenager and I saw that, I'd be like, holy shit, I have to see this movie tomorrow. Here's the thing.
You would put $1 in the swear jar if you were a
Yes, I would. Neon, I think it was Neon that's releasing this. They paid $10 million for this at Sundance, and I thought that was high. I thought that was a mistake.
It was the highest of the festival that year.
Yeah, it was. Earlier this year, exactly. However, after watching the trailer, part of me felt like this could really break out. And there's one aspect that I really wanted to talk about. There's an actress in here named Hari Neff.
Yeah.
She's a trans actress. She's the first trans woman signed to IMG Worldwide. She's a model.
Nice.
She was terrific in this movie. She was by far the standout. So I hope that really advances the discussion around trans actors. I know, we just had it with Rub and Tug. That she's the kind of actress who would kind of be perfect to take over for Scarlett Johansson and Rub and Tug should New Regency actually move forward. So keep an eye on her in this movie.
That's such a great idea.
Why should I be an executive? I know.
I think if we're going to knock down that wall, I think that the New Regency should take a look at this movie then.
Well,
right?
Yeah, they probably should have had their producer, Scarlett Johansson, take a look at the movie before they cast Scarlett Johansson. But, hey, nobody's perfect. So, yeah, I think that's a great call, and it's a great cast. In addition to Hari Neff, you have Abra's in the movie, Suki Waterhouse is in the movie, Odessa Young. They kind of form the quartet of people who this movie focuses on. And then you have all these other, in and outs with the principal or with people who live down the street, and everybody gets their information exposed. It's a scary thing. Luckily, there's nothing on this phone that's going to incriminate me. Oh, God.
And with regard to Rub and Tug, of course, Hari Neff is a trans actress, and they're looking for a trans actor.
Yes.
Right. First Boy Erased. It's the First Boy. I keep saying First Boy Erased. Like, that's the name
Sorry
of the movie.
for that.
There's Beautiful Boy, First Man. It's a lot of boy and man this award season.
And a lot of firsts.
The movie is called Boy Erased.
Yeah.
And this is the first trailer for it, and it is Joel Edgerton. He wrote it, he directed it, and it's about the gay conversion camp that somebody actually got sent to. It's based on Gerard Conley's memoir of the same name. It's his experience as a gay teenager who was sent to a conversion therapy program when he's outed by his very religious parents, who were played by Nicole Kidman and Russell Crowe. This trailer really hit home the fact that this is, we always say awards contender when it seems like a serious drama. This movie hits hard. Joel Edgerton plays one of the counselors at the supposed camp. Reilly, this thing, I think it might clean up during award season, but I think even more than that, it's got a very powerful message.
Oh, God, yes. And Joel Edgerton, I got to give props to for not only directing this, writing it. The Gift, we were talking about that off air. He directed that. The Gift is a phenomenal movie. I loved that movie. And so to see him now go from like kind of thriller horror shades to like a straight up true story drama, the line that hit me so hard was that, boy, you're not born with this is that's fake. Like, we can change you. That is something that is so powerful to me and so prevalent in society now that I have a number of gay friends that would argue with you on that one. Mm-hmm. And so for that to be put out there in this trailer and to show, I mean, we have a fantastic cast. I look at Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman and immediately get that vibe. That I'm like, oh God, they're not the villains of the movie, but they are going to be the antagonists. They're going to be the eyes that we're going to go through and be like, oh boy, we're going to learn so much about this. What's the actor's name again?
Lucas Hedges.
Lucas Hedges is a phenomenal actor.
He's really good. Yeah.
And for him to take on this role based on a true story, you said it. Awards, yes. Important, yes. This movie looks phenomenal. I can't wait to see it.
Jeff Sneider, the thoughts for you on the Boy Erased trailer?
I feel like we've almost got this De Niro Pacino thing going on with Lucas Hedges and Timothy Chalamet. Like they could be like pushing each other for the next 20 years, going up for the same roles. I think this movie looks incredible. It has been, at the forefront of the Oscar conversation for me, which started as soon as Best Picture was handed out in February or March or whatever. I think this is a great true story. Like you said, I thought The Gift was great. Joel Edgerton is a director who's really capable of surprising you. The fact that he got some fellow Aussies in there, Nicole Kidman and Russell Crowe to play the parents, I think it all just bodes super well. Lucas Hedges looks like he totally delivers in this, and it, there's another. It seems to be the year of the gay conversion therapy movie because of the Miseducation of Cameron Post, the Chloe Moretz movie, which won Sundance. I think Sundance will come to regret that decision. That was the worst movie that I maybe even saw at Sundance. I just felt like it was hopelessly dated. It was a movie that should have been made 15 years ago, or felt like it could have been made 15 years ago. And I hope that this movie doesn't feel like that. It doesn't look like it does.
Yeah, it looks like Lucas Hedges is able to anchor the action incredibly well. You have Joel Edgerton, and again, Reilly brings up the word antagonist, and it's a very tough thing where it's like your antagonist could be your parents, and not in the sense of like, man, my dad's being a dick because he caught me setting an onion on fire in the backyard. That actually happened. It's like, no, this is like a serious thing we're dealing with. And so if you go from the serious commentary on the future of our social interaction with the Assassination Nation trailer, and then you go with The First Boy, a very serious issue as far as the gay conversion therapy, then you move on to another serious issue, which is mayhem in an amusement park. And that's the last trailer we're talking about today. Hellfest.
Segue.
Basically, you go to an amusement park hoping for a good time, and then wouldn't you know it, a bunch of ass people go on a murderous rampage. Doesn't sound like fun. Sounds like the end of Zombieland goes crazy with bad guys that are a lot quicker, a lot looser, and a lot more savvy than an undead zombie strolling around. Mark Reilly, Hellfest. Are you putting up your signs of the devil for this one?
Ugh, I'll see this movie. Of course I will. I am shocked that this movie hasn't been made already because it's one of those concepts that is so like, of course. It's not Scary Farm with a killer wandering
was there one
around.
Called Funhouse that came out in the 80s, maybe?
Probably. Probably.
There's been other ones, and this is what I always like. This movie's coming out September 28th, and you talk about a scary concept around Halloween. Sure, the movie Halloween, Michael Myers, all that stuff, but it's like this is something. I don't go to escape rooms. Okay, I don't do escape rooms. I don't do the Universal Horror Nights. I don't want to go into a haunted. It doesn't seem like my idea of a good time.
Mark, I've escaped from every room I've ever been in.
Well, mostly they're trying to kick you out anyway. That's like the goal of when Jeff Sneider's in a room. The goal is to get him out as quickly as possible. Escape rooms try to keep you in, so it's a different kind of concept. With these things, do you do these?
I do. I love it. I love puzzles and solving stuff.
Do you go to
I love puzzles too. I'm the world's greatest Tetris player. This is the different scenario when you got a chained zombie trying to eat you, or you're in a haunted house, and the whole goal walking into the house is somebody in there is going to pretend to stab you. I don't like it.
I love that. So, are you a Not Scary Farm, Universal, Halloween Horror Nights?
I'm not a Horror Nights guy. No, I need a little bit more than people running out with chainsaws.
See,
I go for the hardcore experiences. I'll tell you off camera, man.
He's like,
you know what? Don't. I'm leaving the set. I'm getting my car. I'm driving down to San Diego. I don't want to hear that.
Did you guys
That'll
never
be
do
the sequel?
You never did Blackout?
No, what's that?
Blackout LA. I'll tell. Like I said.
Yeah,
that's. I don't mess around with friggin' mazes. Okay.
Oh, that's the hardcore.
I'm
stuff.
getting waterboarded and that's strangled.
I don't know about that.
I'm just happy with a maze on the back of my cereal box.
I just like when there's Not Scary Farm, Halloween Horror Nights. It's Halloween for me, and I love going to those amusement parks and having fun. And just I mean, it's like, are they scary? Do they jump out of you? The chainsaw jumping out of you doesn't do it for you. It does it for me. I like it because this is Halloween. I'm in the spirit. So then you look at this movie, and it's just like a lot of potential to make a really fun horror movie. Though the trailer didn't really do it for me as far as wowing me. It's enough for the concept enough to see. Okay, I can see it working. It could work in the bigger thing. I want to see the movie at least.
Mark Reilly, my words. I will pay for your ticket on Thursday night, opening weekend, if you're not invited to a press screening.
Oh.
We will go Thursday night.
I can't wait.
Ticket bought. Yes.
I'm with you, man.
This is the kind of like cheesy horror movie that I will definitely go see opening night with an audience that's excited to be there.
Yeah.
I don't care how dumb it is or how I don't recognize anyone in the cast besides for Bex with the wild hair. I'm in.
All right. Well,
I'll take you up on that ticket then.
This weekend, make sure you catch Jeff Sneider when he's torturing a family in the woods wearing a burlap sack on his head, because that's what he apparently does for fun. In the meantime, I'm going to be down at Comic-Con with some of the other Collider folk. They're going to be covering a lot of the big news, the trailers, the breaking stories, footage, all that good stuff. At San Diego Comic-Con, it's the granddaddy of them all. Looking forward to a lot of cool stories that they're going to report directly to you here on Collider Video, as well as Collider.com, where you can go to Collider.com right now and check out the Aquaman set visit that we had. Stephen Frosty Weintraub, when we were talking about the teaser poster that dropped a couple days ago, he also had a lot of cool stories that all just opened up for you to enjoy on Collider.com. And I've seen a lot of people tweeting us, and by the way, we'll save some time for your live Twitter questions at the end of this show, so you can tweet us anytime at Collider Video. I've seen a lot of people asking about a possible meet and greet in San Diego Comic-Con, and we do that every year. We love saying hi to you guys, and if you want to buy me a Coors Light, I'm not going to say no. This year, going to be a little different because we don't have a whole lot of crew going down, so we're not necessarily going to do an organized meet and greet at San Diego Comic-Con. But a whole lot of your favorite Collider personalities that are present somewhere in San Diego are going to be in attendance or on stage at my stand-up show Friday night. So that will act as our unofficial version of the meet and greet, and we'll be outside afterwards saying hi to everybody, taking pictures. So you can check out my comedy show at American Comedy Company. It's Friday night, 10 p.m. It's me, a whole lot of special guests, hosted by Ken Knapsack and Josh McCouga. Look at that. I mean, that lineup. I'm thrilled that all these people like me enough to donate some of their time. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Tickets you can get at markellislive.com. Use the promo code Schmoes, and it's only $11. So pretty cool opportunity. Go see some stand-up, meet and greet us afterwards. It's going to be a good time down in San Diego. Looking forward to it. And once again, I'll reiterate to you guys that the most important thing you can do this week is send all of your thoughts, your prayers, your love, whatever you have to give to John Schnepp and Holly and their families. One more time, here's all of the ways that you can donate to the medical funds and everything going on with our beloved John Schnepp. You can Venmo, PayPal, GoFundMe, and you can follow his fiancee Holly Payne at Betty Draper's Fat Suit, still my favorite Twitter handle of all time. You can check that out, and she will have all the updates going on with our beloved big man. All right, we're going to go to some of your live Twitter questions right now, and our first one is going to. Oh wait, by the way, Jeff Sneider. So you broke that news, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any other casting info? That's the first question from the Michael Bay movie for Netflix. So it's Ryan Reynolds, Dave Franco. Are we filling out the cast just yet? Do we have any other names that they're looking at?
I've heard a name or two, but I'm not at liberty to say. I mean, I don't want to get greedy. I just did Dave Franco. I don't think anybody's happy with me. So,
okay.
Nobody's happy with you?
Can you believe it? I've upset someone in Hollywood?
I've never heard this before from a guy who likes to get waterboarded for fun on the weekend. I'm sorry, but I appreciate you sacrificing yourself.
I'm gonna keep those names under wraps for now.
All right, then.
How about Star Wars scoops? Do you have any Star Wars scoops?
At least for another.
Do you have anything going on with Star Wars?
24 hours.
Well, I hope it is some Star Wars later.
That's actually how Mike Reilly talks. He just puts on a nice face when he's on camera, usually.
Star Wars fan, huh?
Jonathan Caro is first up, and he says The Dark Knight, as Reilly mentioned, has turned 10 years old today. Happy 10-year-old birthday to The Dark Knight. What is your favorite moment from that great movie?
Oh, God.
Favorite moment from The Dark Knight?
My favorite moment is when the Joker comes in and he does I'm going to make this pencil disappear. And then he goes, I'm going to leave my card. I think it's one of the most brilliant. It's not the introduction, but it is definitely the tip of the cap to this guy is all about anarchy, and he is shaking some things loose in Gotham. I love it so much. It's a defining moment for that Joker character.
Okay.
I gotta go opening bank heist.
Yeah, I
think that is
almost there
an
too.
Incredible way to open a movie. I think that a lot of filmmakers have frankly forgotten how to open movies these days. Christopher Nolan, there's a reason that they debuted that IMAX sequence well in advance to give folks a tease and let them know what he had in store for them, because it's technically flawless and absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know Jeremy Johnson's favorite part of The Dark Knight is when Batman says hockey pads, but I think my favorite part is probably. I love the prison scene between Batman and Joker. That just felt like ripped right out of like a comic. But I think my favorite part is just as somebody who has to, do some stuff live and you only get one take and stuff like that. The scene when Heath Ledger as a Joker is walking out of the hospital in the nurse's outfit and he hits the button to blow the building up.
Right.
They blew a building up.
Yeah.
During that scene. You get one shot at that. And that's the scene that you have to use. And to see him just stick the landing so well, it's like if you were going to blow up something for an SNL sketch, you can't blow your line right there.
Right.
And like imagine if he tripped or something. Like he did it so well. I get nervous because now I know the backstory every time I see it. And very, very well done by the late Mr. Ledger. All right, Mac is up next and he says, "What's going to be the biggest surprise at Comic-Con?"
The Batman.
Boys hearing anything?
Right? No, I'm kidding. I'm not hearing anything, actually. I mean, the biggest surprise...
I know Jeff's hearing stuff. He just doesn't want to say anything.
No, I'm honest. I haven't heard anything.
Look, Jeff, let's be honest. You're already in trouble. So if you're already in trouble, you may as well take the 50-point shot.
Yeah.
I'll go on a limb here and say that, sure, Comic-Con is all about the comic book movies. The Hall H is like... Marvel's skipping it this year. We're not getting any Star Wars. So what are we looking at? DC. I think we know what's coming. Aquaman footage will probably wow. Shazam footage will probably wow. We're hoping. But I like the idea that they're debuting some Glass and Halloween footage that fills my horror-loving heart with glee. And then maybe that could be that lightning in a bottle that really hits at Hall H this year. And it's going to be a big surprise. Glass and Halloween footage wowing the crowd.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty exciting panel to be at Friday afternoon. I am looking at the Godzilla side of things.
Yeah.
I want to see some Godzilla footage. Very excited about that. I think something is going to happen with the DC. I don't know if it's going to be whether it's Joaquin Phoenix comes on stage or there's some sort of announcement or somebody comes on stage and just blows us to bits. The only thing that could be more surprising than that is if Christian Harloff did stand up again on my show. It's not, I think he's going to be at a party, then he'll maybe drop by for the
Here's the thing that I want to come out of Comic-Con. What is the name of the new DC label?
Oh, like the DC Dark?
Exactly. What will be the logo in front of this Joker movie? They should have that figured out by now, and I think Comic-Con would be a great place to announce it.
You think you just go with like kind of like how beer companies try to separate? Like, remember Bud Dry? Maybe it's DC Ice.
I don't drink beer, Mark Ellis.
What do you do? What's your...
I don't like to drink. I like chocolate milk.
Oh, okay. So
and Shirley Temples.
Give me a milk. Chocolate.
I understand that reference.
Last question, and this is in honor of our Adam Smith, who I didn't realize was a fan of this movie, but he is, and it's a really good movie. So it comes from Chris El Guapo, who says, "What's a better thriller directorial debut from an actor turned director? Is it Joel Edgerton's The Gift, which Adam Smith loves, or is it Bill Paxton's Frailty?"
Oh, yeah.
An easy call, by the way.
Is it an easy call?
It's an easy call for me.
Just enlighten us then, Sneider.
Oh, for me. No, I want to hear what Reilly does.
I mean, I'm as much as I love The Gift, Frailty is one of my favorite movies, is one of my favorite horror thriller craziness.
Okay, so Reilly says Frailty. Mr. Sneider takes a long pull off his chocolate milk.
The correct answer is The Gift.
You're so wrong.
Frailty's okay. It's a decent first film. It's a little. It's not as tight as The Gift.
The Gift is great.
Gift is nasty. I love that movie.
Frailty is.
That's not one I've gone back to.
Yeah,
right.
The Gift is great. Despite what some people think, Jeff's given a lot of good reviews to a lot of movies here today. Mark Reilly, appreciate your celebration of cinema as well. Thank all of you for tuning in to Collider Movie Talk, at least hosted by me this week. I believe I am handing the reins and the saddle over to you for the rest of the week for Movie Talk. Is that right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
Tomorrow it's get ready, folks. It's a 2-person panel of this guy and that guy.
We're gonna try to find somebody.
We're gonna try to find one more person, but yeah, we are holding down the fort. Have fun at Comic-Con. This is my first time not going to Comic-Con.
Bring me back
7
a Funko
years.
Pop.
7 years. So this is interesting.
No, seriously, get me a churro down there.
You want to? Okay, I can get you a San Diego churro. I can get you the best burrito in town is in La Jolla at the Don Carlos Burrito Stop.
Ooh, I'll take that. I'm getting
Check
a burrito
that place
later.
out. I recommend the shredded beef. Thank you guys for tuning in to Collider Movie Talk. Mark Reilly, Jeff Sneider, Mark Ellis here. We'll see you guys at Comic-Con for the rest of this week. You can follow me, Mark Ellis Live, for all sorts of updates and getting your tickets. And above all else, we love you, John Schnepp.
Love you, Schnepp.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.